Hum. Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Como vocês estão? Vamos começando mais um vídeo de Divinity, hoje não, sim, essa edition. Vamos continuar aqui. Creio eu que esse vídeo vai ser bem curtinho. Eu não vou fazer muitos comentários hoje, então vamos lá, né? Estamos em Rei Boreas. Atualmente vamos explorar um pouquinho da prisão hoje, beleza? Então vamos. Deixa eu mutar aqui.
I'm freezing here! Breath of the dragon. Left-handed is clear. A strange sort of pit. There must be a way to disarm it. Careful now, that's a trap. Halt! Our enemies have laid a trap.
Looks like we found the prison all right. The White Witch must be around here somewhere.
If she hasn't been tortured to death in this hellhole.
You all right, mate? In a bit of a pickle, are ya? Yeah, look like you're proper stuck in there. I'm Tyler, mate. What's your name, Sunshine? Ain't Rat Killer, is he? Yeah? Lever over there opens the gate, mate. I'll pull it for you, if you help me back. Me stomach's rumbling. Got some cheese I could nibble on? Get it! A thumping piece, that. All right, I'll help you. It's too high, mate. I can't. I'm sorry, mate, but I got bads. Thanks for all the cheese, though. Appreciate it.
I've spotted something.
Needed that.
On the mend. There must be a way out of here. There must be a way home. Maybe I am going nuts. I have no idea what's going on. One minute I'm out on a jog with my dog Rocky, and the next I'm headfirst in the snow with snowmen all around me, and they're talking and poking me and demanding to know which source lord I serve, and I'm just a normal guy. I'm not crazy, am I? Hell if I know. All I did was ask for a phone, and these monsters threw me in this dungeon. They asked so many questions, but I had no idea what any of it meant. And this place, it isn't normal. The snow talks. There are magic wands, and little red people, and talking animals. No.
Telefone, o cara é uma STI, será? Que legal.
It's full of dead bodies and vermin, and the snow people seem to be in charge. God, what I wouldn't give for a drink. Well, it'd be pretty fantastic if I knew what the hell were happening. Where I am, what I'm doing here. I've got a life, you know. A house, a car, friends, and a family waiting for me. Isn't there a single phone in this damn place? I'd settle for a telegraph at this rate.
Que doideira, uma STI. É um cara no futuro do nosso tempo. Preso aí. Legal.
What? No. No, I'm not crazy. Please, you must believe me. I don't belong here. You hear me? I don't belong here.
Sigurd's beard, what a find!
Smell smoke?
Intruder spied.
Darkness and light.
Intruder spied.
Winter King has... Damnation! Not even a crack! Source Hunter, you have found us. Here she is at last. Ícara. Oh, but look at her. She has been encased in ice so unyielding that none of my spells melt even a fraction of its surface. You find me at a loss. I admit it. For I've no idea what sorcery, or dare I say it, sorcery, will set her free. Like I said, so far, my attempts at rescuing her have been about as effective as trapping a robin's shadow. No, I believe that if we want to free Ícara, we'll have to find the one who imprisoned her in the first place. This frost-touched magic isn't Leandra's doing. It has Boreas written all over it. The Winter King did this to her, so the Winter King's the key. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
There she is. The White Witch. Prisoner in ice.
I wonder what sorcery, or worse, sorcery, we'll have to use to get her out.
Damnation! Not even a crack! It seems the Winter King has woven ice too rare and powerful for mere fire.
There's no evading my blazing fury.
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
The bird.
What's so
The force field brims with a thousand...
With this incantation, we can pass the force field that bars the way into the castle.
High time for
The
an
force
audience.
field brims with 1,000 distant voices. They seem the voices sound pleased, then grow distant and evanesce.
There thou art! The upstart that seeketh to upset the harmony of Heimerheim! Why hast thou ventured here, Avatar of Man? Why dost thou seek the downfall of Lord, nay, King Boreas, Sovereign of Winter? So thou seeketh but another human, a worm of no import. But though thou tramplest through my realm and besiegest my fortress, thou shalt not have her! Fairy, I have marcheth to the gallows, Heimerheim drawn forth from freeze and frost. How they mocketh me, my brother seasons! Thou art the ugliest courter, they saith to my frozen face. Thou art the blemish of the year, fool that thou art, my brothers! Winter is the jewel of the seasons, and now it is the ruler of time and Heim! Heimerheim! Tis easy when thou hast but to wish upon a well, and the generous pit delivereth unto thee the power of chaos. It doth whisper, the demon straight into my wintry wit, and a woman he sendeth forth into the fields of Faerie. The stone of stars, no more doth she ask of me. The stone and blood of imps. In return she giveth unto me this staff, my siblings enslaved within. Strong are they, these immaculates, stronger than thee, for thy wield the powers of darkest demons. And stronger than thee I am too, the lord of all the seasons, the ruler of all the elements, the one king of eternal winter! I, Avatar, I! Thou hast traveled far, and delveth deep into the heart of winter, but here thou shalt find thine end. Ice preserveth life and death, and in between the two, thou shalt spend the ages in frost encased! last avatar of the cold, dead breath of Boreas!
Vengeance from the skies! Praise to all that is holy!
think you're going?
Damn thee, fiend! Upon the comets of stars, I call to burn thy body!
Unending darkness. keeping this little vial.
Foul sinner! Let all the poisons that lurk in the depths come forth and sting thee 1,000 times over!
Back on my feet again. To welcome you! Seven, call me home.
Ho, hero. 'Tis I, the Summer King. Wholly do I... Hey, quit shoving. Knock it off, will you? I'm trying to... Excuse me. Out of the way! It's Lurian's turn! Well, I thought the day would never come! Thanks for giving old Carrot-Face the great melt. We and the Earth Kingdom owe you a tremendous... what? Well, you'll have to wait your turn. Oh, for the love of all that's igneous, go ahead then, if it'll stop your owling. Answer that. We are the sovereigns of the seasons, kind hero. And we thank you for saving us from our rather deranged brother, the one-time king of winter. I am Sua of the Summer Kingdom. These are my siblings, Semista of spring and Lorien of autumn. We overheard a crafty little imp named Jijix Tell Boreas that the staff can only be destroyed where it was created. The elemental forge. He seemed to imply that the forge was somewhere in Hyberheim itself, but I know not its exact location.
Mas você deve se apressar, sinto minhas brisas estagnarem nessa minúscula prisão, e aqui o Senhor Fornalho transformou esse lugar em uma sala.
Better the crackle of embers than this idiotic blustering. Cover your ears, hero. Nothing whips up a flame like a wild wind. The elemental forge, hero. It's the only way.
Striking it rich!
Ressuscita com toda a vida agora, né? Agora que eu ouvi uma coisa, tá tudo.
rise with my power.
Back to my feet. Into the fray once more.
On the men!
Acho que sim.
I needed that.
Fiz tudo ao contrário. Fiz essa missão primeiro, depois achei a Ícara, depois fui matar o Rei Boreas.
sister, we are free. And who is this? Can it be that a frail mortal human faced and bested our own scheming Boreas? But this is immortal, I see. Strange you'd take the guise of a source hunter. But I shall, of course, honor your chosen form. Indeed, I suppose I should have expected that one of your kind would snare our brother sooner or later. Boreas always was uncomfortably close to dark arts. But I suppose the others of we elemental monarchs thought it better not to interfere in the affairs of his realm. No, like fools, we waited for his pride. More and ever more power to pull us from our own seats of safety and into his sordid storm. We, and with us all the subjects of the realm of Fairy, do owe you our lives, Source Hunter. If, no, not if, but when, we might be of assistance to you in this dimension, you must call upon me personally. I am King Sewer of the Summit Kingdom of Calvia, brother, alongside the other elemental monarchs, to the unfortunate and insane Boreas. In earlier days, we ruled the four realms of Fairy in relative peace, each of us the master of our own kingdom. But something changed in Boreas. He grew darker somehow, more than was typical of his usual melancholy. We worried, yes, but chose not to intervene. Boreas was the Lord of Hyberheim, and it was his right to rule it as he pleased. When our brother called the elemental seats to convene in Hyberheim, we were ecstatic. Boreas seemed again interested in the joint rule of Fairy, in upholding the long-established diplomacy of our lands. When we arrived, however, it was not Boreas who greeted us, but a dark figure. A woman with a stare like blackest fire. In her staff she held a demonic power, the likes of which I've never felt. And as we were sucked into its depths, we thought we'd never see the light of Fairy again. Source Hunter, it would be my sincerest honor. Take this rune, and use it to summon me when you're near the witch once more. If she can be extracted from Boreas' ice, I'll find a way to make it so. I listened closely when I could to Boreas' doings. From what I could tell, it seems this woman had little contact with our deranged brother after the initial exchange of the staff. From what I could tell, the arrangement was thus. She gave him us, contained, and in return he gave her access to his great star stone, and scores of imps he'd invited to Hyberheim. After that, the two parted, and I heard little more of the woman. In his fits of madness, Boreas would sometimes bellow abuse about the demon woman. I can only assume he meant the same who trapped us. That's settled that, isn't it? We best be on our way then. The spring and autumn kingdoms won't rule themselves, you know. May our paths cross soon, Source Hunter. Our champion has returned. Have you yet determined how I might repay my debt? It would be an offer. Our champion has returned.
There she is. The White Witch. Prisoner in ice.
I wonder what sorcery, or worse, sorcery,
I don't know
will
how
have
long
to
she'll
use to
last
get
within
her
that
out.
ice. There must be a way.
This is your White Witch, then? And you're sure you want to free her, are you? Even our mad Boreas wouldn't have wasted such precious ice on a petty criminal. Whatever she did to find herself here must have been rather severe indeed. But I am in your debt, and I would be remiss not to honor your request. Shield your eyes, Source Hunter. To melt ice of this refinement, I'll need to summon an equally rare flame.
Gods, it's colder than a witch's teat. How very callous of Leandra to entower her only sister in a barren tundra for eternity.
Ícara, you're all right? The ice, King Boreas, and your sister. What a frigid hell you've endured.
And yet not even a frigid hell like this could induce you to put on a shirt, could it, Ahu? My old friend, surely I have you to thank for my salvation.
That honor goes to a pair of talented source hunters, actually. If not for their efforts, I'd be quite uselessly prowling around your prison still.
Then perhaps I ought to address my savior directly. Source Hunter, is that the masquerade? Well, what a motley crew we are. Isn't there somewhere a bit warmer we might discuss matters? Ah, yes, of course, of course. Do pardon me. I didn't mean to imply you were very clearly eternal beings in the guise of minor mortals. Not at all. Please, let's do carry on. Oh, yes, I suppose I am. But I do prefer my given name. Ícara, that is. Charmed. But I hope I haven't disappointed my own hero. Am I just as white and witchy as you'd hoped? First things first, Source Hunter. For my freedom, I owe you every imaginable thanks. My soul had withered in this prison, and I might not have survived much longer without your help. Now, about the culprits. My corrupted sister and the mad Winter King. When I realized exactly where, and to whom Leandra was consigning me, I was certain I'd never enjoy the sun's warmth again. But neither she nor I anticipated the Source Hunter. That was her mistake, and my blessing. I never would have imagined Leandra capable of dealing with the likes of Boreas, but she has changed into someone I hardly recognize anymore. I take no pleasure in the memory of that night. The thought of hurting anyone or anything is abhorrent to me. But in this case, I judged it necessary. If you've come this far, I trust you've learned that the Counselor was far from a humble civil servant. This doesn't excuse my behavior, but perhaps it can help to explain it. It's a sordid story, to be perfectly frank. Two sisters, a philanderous, treacherous wizard, death and mayhem. Are you sure you're interested in such things? The sparkle in your eye belies your better nature, Source Hunter. Now I know that it is your duty to get to the heart of this. And, in truth, the events of that night were but one part of a larger and much darker matter. A matter in which I'll dare to beg your assistance before we're through with one another. Now that terrible night. One night, as I slept, I had a sudden revelation. No dream, but a vision. My sister Leandra and my lover Zandalor. I didn't understand, but I recognized their location. Syceel's King Crab Inn. I arrived and looked through their window, but inside, everything was wrong. Leandra had fled, and Councillor Jake stood over the wizard, a knife in his hand and hate in his eyes. As I watched, he drove the dagger deep into Zandalor's heart, and I was too late to stop him. In that moment, I broke. I saw before me not a man, not even a beast, but evil incarnate. And I used Source to slay him. On the floor lay Zandalor. In my hands, I held Jake's life force. I had sworn never to use Source, but I couldn't walk away. And so I did the unthinkable. I used the Councillor's life to save Zandalor's. He was alive, but only just. Betrayal. Murder. Source. We were all of us guilty now. If you were any other Source Hunter, I suppose you'd strike me down where I stand after that terrible admission. Fortunately for us both, you are no other Source Hunter. My own little sister, if you can imagine it. She was always the more ambitious, the more exacting of us, and she had no fear of the darkness that so often accompanies Source. Her collusion with King Boreas in imprisoning me here confirms my worst fears. She is planning something far greater than I could have anticipated. For this reason, and with a heavy heart, I must ask you, Source Hunter, to find out how far exactly Leandra has become entwined in the dark arts. I hate to extend my own invitation, Source Hunter, but I believe I ought to accompany you to Zigzax's hideout. Presumptuous, yes, but I'd recognize the imp's essence just about anywhere. Both he and you must learn more about the darkness that has extended itself into our dearest Rivellon. And I believe I know where we must begin. Ah, but unless that's a bear flailing through the threads of time, I do believe Master Zigzax is on his way. Make way, Source Hunter, landing in 3, 2...
Hunters, you've done it! Ícara is free! Ah, what good it does my impish heart to see her safe and bright as ever! We have much to discuss. Come one and all to the end of time. A spot of something warm and the soft glow of the tapestry ought to do us all a bit of good, hmm? There you are, Ícara. Now, if we're done playing hide and seek, let's not waste a jot more time. Oh, I just can't wait to pick your every synapse.
After you, Master Zigzax.
We've solved the murder and caught the culprit, yet this case feels anything but closed.
There's more to this crime than simple fact. Killing a killer is hardly the same as killing an innocent, after all.
We'll have to learn more before we can assess Ícara's true guilt in this matter. Fortunately, she seems quite eager to tell us more about this entire dark affair.
again. Not angry.
Tell me, O Weaver, if you know all that is past and present, does that mean you know the future?
I see Master Zigzags has upgraded from his shabby little hut at the edge of the hour, from the fairy dimension to the, space-time Weaver Hunter Imp one. What do you call this place again? Run our course before reaching reality.
A bit drafty in here, isn't it? Are we near a vent? Think I could try?
Is that so? It seems I have my share to learn about the magical world yet. The end of time. Well, suddenly your association with Master Zigzags makes sense. Well, I must say, it's no small relief to find myself in a safe haven among such allies.
I wonder how much of a spark it takes to zap a human to vapor.
I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still cutting down so-called dark magicians by the dozens. Ours was a family of born sorcerers, you see. It was in our blood to interact with Source, but our parents were determined to curb the power within us. Still, their meekness wouldn't save them from the Source Hunters.
Jokes.
I could tell a joke. Have you seen my magic? I am. But there is more to our kind than they teach at your academy. Source isn't only blood and madness. It's like lightning, an exquisite current of great power. We sorcerers are like metal steeples. Source is drawn to us and it flows through us. But what so many fail to understand is that Source can be controlled. The power-drunk through history have abused it, and all the world's sorcerers have borne terrible consequences. Tell me, Source Hunter, in all your hours studying the arcane arts, did your great masters ever suggest that perhaps not all sorcerers were evil? Did you ever hear, even once, that some of us were weak and gentle? That we could be simple forest folk healing the sick and frozen each winter? No. I doubt also that they'd mention that one day this hunt of yours would birth a broken soul powerful enough to inch all of Rivellon toward oblivion.
Magic box? It's got all kinds of wonders stashed inside.
No. No, that would be going too far and eschewing my own responsibility. I believe Leandra's long fall down did begin at the hands of some of your own order, but it was I who sparked all of this. They came on a quiet morning. My mother was wild with fright and commanded me to hide myself and Leandra outside, among the trees. Even at that young age, we knew not to question her. We climbed high into the branches of a nearby tree, and before we could look away, our parents were cut down without ceremony before our door. The Source Hunters sauntered away, wiping their blades with pride. 2 more sorcerers dead, a job well done. From that moment on, everything was different. As we trembled in that tree, our fear and our desperation were so potent that the magic within us began to weave together. Our souls became forged together, our bond unbreakable. We would survive, thrive even, within those woods, never speaking to outsiders. Our soul forge meant that if one of us were to die, the other would instantly perish too. We kept one another close. Leandra's capacity was enormous. Source didn't frighten her, and she delved into that dark well with terrible regularity. I did my best to guide her, but she fast outgrew my admonitions.
I could tell a joke or two.
My sister and I were mired in a solitary existence, witches among the trees when Zandalore came. Leandra especially couldn't leave him be. He was a feast of information, and she wouldn't rest until she'd absorbed every bit of knowledge he offered. Their days were spent on charms, hexes, and the like. At night, Leandra would wander off to practice what she'd learned, and Zandalor and I would settle into our quiet tasks, side by side. We were a content trio, the three of us, but base impulse would undo us.
Pergunta inocente essa, quer dizer, com impulsos primitivos.
As you know, Leandra and I were soul-forged. This offered us a window into one another's souls. I knew Leandra had developed feelings for Zandalor, and she knew I had too. But it was me to whom he confessed his love. Those quiet evenings together had captured his heart, as they had mine. Her heart broke the moment we announced our new attachment, and I felt the pain of it as sharply as a knife. She fled, without a word, and I didn't see her for 2 terrible years. My connection to her, our soul forge, grew weaker. It was as though some third entity, a parasite, were atop our souls, sucking the strength from it day by day. We've a single order of business first and foremost. Leandra is gathering an army, and I fear we'll have to get through it if we wish to find her. But first, we must learn more about Leandra's plans. How many of these so-called immaculates does she have in her palm, and to what end is she directing them? Source Hunter, you've learned so much already. That spell you found. If it's to be believed, Leandra has created Death Knights. Only that spell, combined with her blood, will make them vulnerable to attack. I believe that our soul forge has been damaged. By what? I can only guess. The fraying of the bond between us has left Leandra adrift in a well of sorrow she truly believes will never end. What she needs is a hand. My hand, out of this abyss. If our soul forge is repaired, I am certain she'll cease blazing this path of destruction. I cannot condone the terrible things she's done, but I can seek to understand them. With our soul forge in such tatters, I believe Leandra is adrift in the not at all inconsiderable sorrows of our lives. What's more, I sense a terrible force bearing down upon the bond between us. It is hungry, and it consumes ever more of Leandra's mind and soul. I cannot say exactly what this force might be, but I'm certain it's both driving me out and driving Leandra on. If I could only repair the forge, I'm certain she'd put a stop to this madness. Gods, Death Knights, this is dreadful news. Worse than I could have expected. Death Knights are a terrible sign, Source Hunter. Historically, they indicate their maker's intention to wage total war. Death Knights are impervious to attack, you see. The perfect soldiers. Fortunately, you're 2 steps ahead of my sister. With that vial of her blood and the fail-safe spell you rescued from the mines, you can craft a piece of magic powerful enough to render her army vulnerable. You're 2 steps ahead of my sister, dear Source Hunter. With that vial of her blood and the fail-safe spell you rescued from the mines, you can craft a piece of magic powerful enough to render her army vulnerable. So that's her plan. She intends to summon Astarte and the Void Dragon and overwhelm the goddess with an unstoppable army. With Astarte gone, there will be nothing to stop the Void from consuming all of Rivellon. Our mission is greater than us, greater than Leandra, Source Hunter. It is a quest to save all of existence from eternal blackness. Her plan must not succeed. Sister, sister, what have you done?
Doom! Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
You and Zandalor have always been close, Ahu. Pray tell, did you know anything about his affair at the King Crab?
Think I could fly
Come
straight
now.
to the void?
Do you really think he'd let me in on it in advance if he'd been planning an affair with your sister?
How can I tell? Maybe you taught him a thing or two about slinking around in between shadows.
If that were true, Ícara, he wouldn't have been murdered, resurrected, and pursued by the bringer of the apocalypse as a result, now would he?
Oh, I could tell a joke or
True
two.
enough.
Free on a good day.
Tell me, my friend, have you heard any recent prophecies regarding the... what was it again? Oh yes, the so-called damned one?
Not lately, Master Imp. Indeed, I very much fear that until the void is caged once more, there will be...
The last test, the last test, the last test! If you believe yourself worthy of rifling through my ample treasures, I do dare you to prove it! Find my 4 sisters, no more than one in each of the...
And it haunts me. Follows my vision like confused spots after staring in the sun.
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home, is it not?
Can light be born?
Say,
Let us cling to the
have you seen my
and
magic
hope.
book?
Did you? Most wonderful. Could I have a quick read? Yes. Crikey, Dragon of the Void, She doesn't mess around now, does she? The Temple of the Source. I've heard of such a place, buried deep within the forbidden confines of a cursed phantom forest. That is where your travels should take you, east of the Lacula Woods, even though death hangs over that place like a ghostly fog. But first, you should go to Hunter's Edge, the village that borders those haunted woodlands. That is where Zandalor lives. The wizard Leandra is hunting. He is knowledgeable of the source, and his capture by the Void Seekers would be catastrophic indeed. Of all the wicked things, the one substance that can stand in the way of the Void, and she's turning it into vessels of blight. You'll have to redouble your efforts, my friend. You'll have to find more Starstones before she does and forestall her insidious distortions.
How might I serve our mission? Leandra. She desires to be Mother of the Void, but you have the power to undo her born-in-blood litter. Though they be baptized in blood, you can cleanse the Starstones still, and use them to thwart their grim queen.
I hope your quest fares well, dear hunter. Yes, that was a small fib on my part, I'm afraid. Zandalor is known as the Keeper of the Source, after all. And I didn't know how Source hunters would react to my association with such a colorful character. She knows of the wizard Zandalor and the fabled Temple of the Source. She wants to get in. It is part of her purpose. Ícara is key, Hunter. She knows Zandalor. We must find him before Leandra does.
The Lady of Time!
What's the word, Source Hunter?
As your biggest fan, dear lady, could I get your autograph?
Shall be
That's
my
a nice
pleasure,
ring
sir.
to it, doesn't it?
I'll include
You know, A is for horses. Maybe I listen to this one. What are you calling him? And here's one thing. Hey, that leaf doesn't belong to you, eh?
Muito bem. Acho que terminamos por hoje, né? Descobrimos muitas coisas que temos que fazer. Salão dos segredos, salão da escuridão, salão dos heróis, coma interna, gelo, pedra, chamas. E aqui deve ser da tempestade, alguma coisa assim. Tá bom, deixa eu ver. Esse diabinho me perseguindo é uma porcaria, né? Tem missão pra falar com a tecedeira, não?
How might I serve our mission? Ask, and I shall answer, if I can.
Não entendi muito bem. Tá, vamos ver aqui.
Our heroes have chosen 5 vessels for their return. Mere humans, I'd have said but a little while ago, and yet they managed to bring us together across space and time.
Space, time,
I wonder
and a
how much
frigid
of a
prison
spice
wasteland.
to zap a human to make
To the
That's a nice thing,
Leandra and I have had our differences, but she herself would never have sent me to that frozen hell. Something or someone has taken hold of her. I'm sure of it.
A bit drafty in here, isn't it? Are we near a...
One can't help but wonder
Hey,
where
hey,
the cats
hey,
have run off
jokes.
to in
Oh,
all this.
I could tell a
The
joke or
void
two.
won't spare
Free on a
them,
good
you know.
day.
There's no hiding from the great nothing.
Ah, lembrei. Tá, só que eu não lembro qual que é o feitiço, né?
Every year, I said.
Their where and why is of no import. This moment is all there is. The crux is what we do with it.
Say, have you seen my magic box? It's got all kinds of wonders stashed inside.
Mine is but the pen. Theirs is the sword. And this is a time for swords.
But if they succeed, the time of the pen will return forever.
Que é esse daqui?
That's a nice thing to it, doesn't it?
So it shall.
Ah, tá, esse daqui mesmo. Tá, eu acho que... Tio José Sauron não tem como fazer isso, né?
You both puzzle and delight me, Sir Ahu. To be man and cat both. Such an interesting life you lead.
You flatter me, my lady, but yes, I quite like
Jack,
to weave between
have you
two
seen my magic
planes of
box?
existence,
It's got all
bound
kinds
by
of
mind
wonders
and
stashed
soul.
inside.
There is a grandeur to it, if a humble one.
And trust me, lady, that grandeur humbles rather quickly when you see him groom himself.
That's a nice thing to it, doesn't it?
Tá, vou ter que tirar um aqui, né?
I wonder how much of a spark it takes to zap a human to make
Ah, tá aqui.
Cold, Master Imp. Very, very cold.
Que todos podem aprender.
I wonder, do you know more about the void? What it is? What lies at the heart of
What lies at its heart?
Ah, todos podem aprender, legal.
Have you seen my magic box? It's got all kinds of wonders stashed inside.
A question has me stumped, milady. Why are there two of us? Two beings that record all history parallel to one another?
That is a good question, Zigzags. One without a conclusive answer, though its resolution may lie in conception. Where you chronicle, I both chronicle and create. Where you arrive at conclusions, I spin origins besides. What's the word, Source Hunter? Why, it seems you're more than caught up, aren't you? You've already got the spell in the blood, both of which we'll need, if the spell is to be believed, to slice through Leandra's army of Death Knights. Remarkable. That means we've only to find Zandalor now. Long ago, when Source was banished, a league of great men and women promised to protect its secrets. The Keepers of the Source, they called themselves. Our wizard is its last living member. That night in the King Crab Inn, Leandra was after something that only he knew. Find him, and you'll learn where to find her. He lives in Hunter's Edge, a village east of Lucula. When last I saw him, he was in a panic about Leandra's betrayal. It's possible that he'll have flown Hunter's Edge. You may need to investigate to find a hint of his whereabouts. Take this ring, it will mark you as my ally. If you should find Zandalor, he'll know I sent you.
Think I could fly straight to the void? I think I could fly straight to the void. All the way up.
I wonder, do you know more about the void? What it is? What lies at the heart of it?
What lies at its heart? Why, nothing, of course. The great absence of all that even the gods cannot comprehend. It eludes us, like infinity, or the finality of tick-tocking time. What's the word, Source Hunter?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I cannot condone the terrible things she's done, but I can seek to understand them. With our soul forged in such tatters, I believe Leandra is adrift in the not at all inconsiderable sorrows of our lives. What's more, I sense a terrible force bearing down upon the bond between us. It is hungry, and it consumes ever more of Leandra's mind and soul. I cannot say exactly what this force might be, but I'm certain it's both driving me out and driving Leandra on. If I could only repair the forge, I'm certain she'd put a stop to this madness. Continue your search. You are so close to the end of your journey. You cannot falter now. I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still... Ours was a still. I am. We saw... But what so? Tell me, did you ever... No. They came on. We climbed the Source Hunters. From that moment on, we would... Leandra's capacity was... My sister, Leandra, their days, we were a as you know, but it was her heart, my
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home, is it not?
Have you seen my magic box? It's got all kinds of wonders stashed inside.
Oh, empathy. Aye, aye, Captain. I wonder how much of a spark it takes to zap a human to vapor.
Indeed, I very much fear that until the void is caged once more, there will be no future to prophesy.
Still, one can't help
Southeast to Hunter's Edge, north to incomparable suffering. Well then.
Southeast it is. For now, at least.
Beleza, pessoal, vou gravar aqui. Hoje progredimos muito na história, né? Progredimos bastante, em torno de 2 horinhas de gameplay. Nós vamos ficando por aqui, que já é tarde e eu vou dormir. E vou me despedindo aqui. Espero que todos tenham gostado de hoje. Espero que se inscrevam no canal, curtem, deixem um like, né? Compartilhem e deixem seu comentário aí. Valeu, fui!